Abraham is going to be leading our lesson for today. So let's go ahead and get into that.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another Conchas y Café night. And here we have the first quote of the day. It goes like this: At that time, my virtue slumbered, my evil kept awake by ambition, was alert, swift to seize the occasion, and the thing that was projected was Edward Hyde. This is a quote from Dr. Jekyll's from the book from the Strangest Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a Gothic novel first published in 1886 by Scottish author Robert Louis Stevenson, born 13 November 1850 and passed away the 3rd of December of 1894. And I'm just going to move to the Spanish version before we start discussing it. And here goes. En español. En ese momento dormía mi virtud. Mi mal, desvelado por la ambición, estaba alerta y lista para aprovechar de la ocasión, y lo que se proyectó fue Edward Hyde. Este es una parte que viene del personaje Dr. Jekyll, y es de un libro o una novela del el extraño caso de Dr. Kelly and Mr. Hyde, una nueva novela gótica publicada por primera vez en 1886 por el autor escocés Robert Louis Stevenson, nacido el 13 de noviembre de 1850 y falleció el 3 de diciembre de 1894. So I think Luis already shared the quote on the chat. So if you guys cannot see it, go for it. If not, I'm going to still leave it on the screen. So let's discuss this part. What do you guys think about this quote?
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to reread at the top. It says, at that time, my virtue slumbered, my evil kept awake, my ambition was alert and swift to seize the occasion, and the thing that was projected was Edward Hyde. He had a inner spirit in him that was overpowering the other. And he says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but principalities and people in the dark places, high places, and dark. This is what was going on in his life. And then it says, at that time, this particular time, his virtue, and that's his inner. Oh boy, to me, virtues mean so much. The inner desire, the inner spirit, the essence of your total inside and basically outside too, your virtue, what you've made up. And then it says, it slumbered my evil. So that seemed to me that the good was trying to, not so much as the good, but whatever was controlling him, maybe a demon, I don't know, but the virtue, whatever he's made up, whatever makes him up to be who he is, it slumbered the evil part, but it also kept awake by ambition. It was that particular spirit was alerted and swift to seize the occasion. So it's like some people that are just evil and spitefully just can't control themselves. And I don't want to keep going on because it has a whole lot. And it, my opinion might not be your opinion, but this his virtue, that thing that's on the inside that controls him, his inner man, he just couldn't contain it.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Luis. Definitely. I feel like, yeah, it has a lot of things that are going on as well. And Luis, do you wanted to mention something?
Yeah, I just actually wanted to clarify for Miss Lois the word slumbered, SLUMBERED.
Oh, the sleeping part.
Slumbered, right. Yeah. So,
I thought it was slam.
Yeah. No, but basically it's saying, right, that at that time, speaking of the moments when Edward Hyde was taking over, Dr. Jekyll felt like his virtue was asleep, and his evil, the evil part of him, was kept awake by the ambition of basically, committing evil things. So,
Oh yeah, and that makes a little bit more sense.
yeah. So, yeah, I just want to make sure that that was a little bit more clear.
And then, thank you, Luis. And also we have Jessica, I think. She raised her hand.
Oh yeah. Hold on. So I've always heard people reference this, Dr. and Jekyll and whatever Hyde, like when they're talking about people and characters. I never desired to, and I still don't have any desire to read any more about it. But just with the little bit that I've read, what's interesting to me is I think that how as writers, we have the opportunity to kind of have these alternate or contrasting thoughts, and we can actually create a character not just in our head but on paper to present or create a character or an alter ego like that. So I think that's interesting. Now that I read it and if I think about it, I think that's interesting. I've never done it. I'm lying actually, because I'm writing something right now and I've noticed that one of my characters is something that's hidden back here that I get to express through this particular person that I've created. But so I think that's a really good example of, as writers, how we have the ability to do that, to create two people in one, or to create two narratives in one, and it not look like you're bipolar. No offense.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Rosie?
Well, I too was not very fond of these two characters, but what's interesting about them is that whole thing about the split personalities. Through psychology, you learn the fact that it was Mr. Hyde. He had that psychiatric disorder, and he Dr. Jekyll would transform into him, and it was kind of like I think to me Hyde was the bad evil guy, where Dr. Jekyll would try to stay normal, but because of the split personalities, one would control over the other, and a lot of times evil wins over. So it was back and forth in that sense.
Thank you. And we also have AA, I think it's Mojde. She posted on the chat, overcoming the difficulties by hope and determination. And definitely, like Jessica said, this is a really good example to start thinking about personalities. And I like the way he mentions projected, because it means it's something that's there, but it's usually not being projected to the world. And so it stays there inside until, like it says, slumber, right? Until sleeps, the person in control sleeps, and that part projects itself out into the world, right? And so, sorry, Dr. Rosie?
Yeah, well, I like, Abraham, that you mentioned the projected, because by Hyde, because when you have that split personality, sometimes you don't know that you have that, or that whatever that person does or that personality does, you don't know all the evil and all the bad things that they do until sometimes they bring it out to you or point it out to you. That was you. And so it can bring a lot of confusion to a person where you start imagining things. So it is an interesting topic.
Definitely. And we also have Jessica.
Speaking I would even argue to say speaking for myself, I know it's there. It's just I'd rather keep it slumbered. And I avoid, I avoid ambition. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I agree with Rosie, and I think also too, where the challenge comes in, at least for me, I've noticed as I've been trying to write more is allowing myself to. This is such a weird thing to read right now as I'm thinking, like to have the ambition to wake it from its slumber, not to be evil, because I mean, anything bad, I mean, if you think about Christianity as evil, like cussing is the same as murdering, right? Like it's all the same. So to like awaken this bad side, because I think a long time ago in some other lesson, or I forget what it was in, but we learned that there has to be, I think maybe it was a lesson, there has to be two, both are present. There's good and there's bad. So I'm not sure what our homework is gonna be, but I feel like it's gonna be challenging. So I'm not interested. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I'll challenge you guys all the time. So we'll continue, or unless somebody else has anything else to say for this quote. 1, 2, 3. Okay. For this next part, I'm gonna need everybody's help, and I'm gonna ask you to read a part of this song. So I'm gonna basically let you read until like the next big bold letters. Then you stop and we choose another person. So whoever wants to volunteer for the first part, and then if no, I'm gonna start picking out people. So the sooner the better, guys. Okay, we have Royal Ruth. Are you ready for this one? Okay, whenever you are ready.
Okay. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? We're going to have a problem here.
Thank you. And we're gonna move to a different reader for this part. I'm gonna continue bluing it, but just for the time being, just follow me as I move the screen. Okay, we have Dr. Rosie is next.
You all act like you've never seen a white person before. Jaws all on the floor, like Pam, like Tommy, like just burst in the door, and started whooping her ass worse than before. They first were divorced, thrown her over furniture. Ugh. It's the return of the, oh, wait, no way, you're kidding. And he didn't just say what I think he did he? And Dr. Dre said, nothing. You idiots. Dr. Dre's dead. He's locked in my basement. Ha ha. Feminist women like Eminem. Chica, chica, chica. Slim Shady. I'm sick of him. Look at him walking around grabbing his you know what, flipping the you know who. Yeah, but he's so cute though. Yeah, I probably got a couple of screws up in my head loose, but no worse than what's going on in your parents' bedroom. We ain't nothing but mammals. Well, some of us cannibals who cut other people open like cantaloupes. But if we can hump dead animals and antelopes, then there's no reason that a man and another man can't elope. Lord have mercy. Those are harsh words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You got the hard one. But I'm glad. I'm happy for that one. And we're gonna continue for the next person who can read this next one.
Can I read it, please?
This one you can. Yeah, perfect. This is you read until you see the blue letters. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Liana.
Okay. It says, I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up.
Thank you, Eliana. That's great.
You're
and then
welcome.
we're gonna move for the next person. I think Jessica, you raise your hands, right? So whenever you are ready.
Okay.
Let me see. Will Smith don't got to cuss in his raps to sell records. Nope. Well, I do, so fuck him and fuck you too. You think I give a damn about a Grammy? Half of you critics can't even stomach me, let alone stand me. But Slim, what if you win? Wouldn't it be weird? Why? So you guys could just lie to get me here? So you can sit me here next to Britney Spears? Shit, Christina Aguilera better switch me chairs. I'm sick of you little girl and boy groups, so all you do is annoy me. So I've been sent here to destroy you. And there's a million of us just like me, who cuss like me, who just don't give a fuck like me, who dress like me, walk, talk, and act like me, and might just be the next best thing, but not quite me.
Oh, thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. And we got a next person, please, for this one. Don't make me pick you. Okay, we have Stephanie. Go for it.
I'm like a head trip to listen to because I'm only giving you things you joke about with your friends inside your living room. The only difference is I got the balls to say it in front of y'all. And I don't gotta be false or sugarcoat it at all. I just get on the mic and spit it. And whether you like to admit it, I just shit it. Better than 90% of you rappers out can. So will the real Shady please stand up and put one of those fingers on each hand up and be proud to be out of your mind and out of control. And one more time, loud as you can. How does it go?
Thank you very much. And we have, I think, the last part. Who wants to read this one? I'm gonna ask Heidi. Heidi, you're there. I'm gonna give you this one, Heidi, since I haven't heard you.
Haha, I guess there's a smell shadow in all of us. Fuck it. Let's all stand up.
Wow, thank you guys. You guys did it. You guys did it. And we're gonna do the really quick one in Spanish. Luis is gonna help you with this one. So let's see
how this goes.
Yeah, let's see how this one goes. So whenever you're ready, Luis.
All right. So I got it on my screen, so I'm just going to read it from my screen if in case I go faster than yours.
Go for it, go for it. Yeah, go for it. I'm just going to try to follow you.
All right. ¿Podría tener su atención, por favor? ¿Podría tener su atención, por favor? ¿Podría ponerse de pie el verdadero Slim Shady? Repito, ¿podría ponerse de pie el verdadero Slim Shady? Vamos a tener un problema aquí. Actúan como si nunca antes hubieran visto a una persona blanca. Mandíbulas en el suelo como Pam, como Tommy, acaban de entrar por la puerta y empezará a patearle el culo peor que antes. Primero se divorciaron, tirándola sobre los muebles. Ah, es el regreso del, oh, espera, de ninguna manera, ¿estás bromeando? ¿No acaba de decir lo que creo que dijo? ¿O sí? Y Dr. Dre dijo, nada, idiotas. Dr. Dre está muerto, está encerrado en mi sótano. Las mujeres feministas aman a Eminem. Chica, Slim Shady, estoy harto de él. Míralo, caminando, agarrando su ya sabes qué, señalando el ya sabes quién. Sí, pero él es tan lindo, sin embargo. Sí, probablemente tengo un par de tornillos sueltos en la cabeza, pero no peor que lo que está pasando en las habitaciones de tus padres. No somos nada más que mamíferos, bueno, algunos de nosotros caníbales, que abren a otras personas como melones, pero si podemos montar animales muertos y antílopes, entonces no hay razón para que un hombre y otro hombre no puedan fugarse. Soy Slim Shady. Sí, soy el verdadero Shady. Todos los otros Slim Shadys solo están imitando. Así que el verdadero Slim Shady, que se ponga de pie. Por favor, levántate. Por favor, levántate. Will Smith no maldice en su rap para vender discos. No. Bueno, lo hago. Así que jódelo y jódete tú también. ¿Crees que me importa un carajo? ¿Un Grammy? La mitad de ustedes, los críticos, ni siquiera pueden soportarme, y mucho menos soportarme. Pero Slim, ¿y si ganas no sería raro? ¿Por qué? ¿Para que mientan solo para traerme aquí? ¿Para que puedan sentarme aquí junto a Britney Spears? Mierda, Christina Aguilera debe cambiarme, decía. Estoy harto de ustedes, grupitos de niños y niñas. Todo lo que hacen es molestarme, así que me han enviado aquí para destruirlos. Y hay 1 millón de nosotros igual que yo, que maldicen como yo, que simplemente no les importa un carajo como yo, que visten como yo, caminan, hablan y actúan como yo, y podrían ser la nueva gran cosa, pero jamás como yo. Soy como un viaje mental para escuchar, porque solo te estoy dando cosas sobre las que bromeas con tus amigos dentro de tu sala. La única diferencia es que tengo las pelotas para decirlo frente a todos, y no tengo que ser falso o endulzarlo en absoluto. Solo tomo el micrófono y lo escupo. Y sí o no te gusta admitirlo, a mí simplemente me sale como caca. Mejor que el 90% de ustedes los raperos pueden. Entonces, el verdadero Shady, por favor, levántate y pon uno de esos dedos en cada mano hacia arriba y siéntete orgulloso de estar fuera de tu mente y fuera de control. Y una vez más, lo más fuerte que puedas. ¿Cómo va? Supongo que hay un Slim Shady en todos de nosotros. A la mierda. Pongámonos todos de pie.
Yes, you did it. Though. That was a tricky one. That was a tricky one, mate.
Yeah, that was
I'm glad you did it. And I didn't. It's a hard one, Spanish. Thank you, Liz,
I don't
very
know.
much. And thank you, all of you. Sorry, Heidi, you were saying?
No, I don't know. Luis, Spanish is perfect.
Well, thank you.
I'm not gonna deny that. It was pretty good. So, what do you guys think about this piece? It's the real Slim Shady, and I'll give you more details on the piece later. But what do you guys think about this piece?
Maybe an appropriate question is to say, or to ask, what did it make you feel as you were listening?
That too, yeah. Or reading it.
Old. I was in high school when this song came out, and every boy in my school bleached his hair. Every white boy, I should say, no offense.
My cousin also did it, so I know. Okay, old. And what else do you guys think?
San Juanita wrote in the chat.
Okay, I'm having trouble with my getting up and down in this chair. But anyway, double standards. There's,
Double standards.
there used to be, oh yes, I'm the great pretender, pretending that you're not around. So a lot of phony people, shady people, people trying to fit in, copycats. But I like the first part because all that other stuff in between, I'm glad you didn't call on me to read. But at the top, where it says that Brother Lewis is smiling, Will Smith didn't need any cursing to make himself popular in his craft. And then there was something down at the bottom, I think, let me see. It was only like a couple of lines at the bottom that is to me, I'm like sandwiching it in. I'm trying to wheel it down, but I need you to go down for me. All the way down to the bottom, the last two lines.
Yeah, that's the last two lines is haha.
Ha ha ha. I guess there's a Slim Shady in all of us. But then that other word, I'm gonna leave it out. Forget us, forget it. Then it all stand up. In other words, you can't throw your ball and hide your hand. You know, there's no, what is it? The Bible says there's no good in any of us. And I mean, or let me see, there's nothing. In other words, we're not perfect people. And so everybody has a skeleton. Yeah, everybody has a skeleton in his closet. Everybody's done a little something, something. And so that part about stand up, just be who you are. You know, you have these people that do imitate, how do you say, talk like other people, and you know, imitators, what you call them, you know, when they do your voice, and they don't know who they really are.
Right,
you know, and you heard about that.
Exactly.
You know, they do all those imitators. You know, John Wayne was one of the good ones. I mean, that was before your time. And they even had this man that could even talk like this lady. I can't even think of her name. She had a heavy voice. But anyway, well, what was her name? Oh, I can't think of it. I want to do everything really quick. But anyway, just be who you are. Both of you guys are great teachers. You have a lot of information to give us, and you have a role to play with us and for us, and lead and guide us in certain things. But Brother Abraham, you can't be Brother Lewis. Brother Lewis, you can't be Brother Abraham. You know, so just stand up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also want to just to point out, because Jessica wrote on the chat, I think it's ironic that the last assignment that she did was on the words that friends know her by, and there was a lot of F words in it. And then she's also saying, I wonder if he thinks he needs to sell, to cars to sell CDs or anything like that, like almost like Luis was mentioning.
Yeah,
And
that was,
also we
that was
have
San Juanita, by
voice
the way.
impersonators, and then
Also, I wanted to acknowledge San Juanita. San Juanita was the one that wrote, that I wonder if he thinks he needs to cuss to sell. And then also San Juanita previously wrote in the chat, sounds like he doesn't care what people say or think about him. And
definitely,
Mojde, and Mojde pointed out that today is International Girls' Day. So something for us to
and
consider.
we also have Janie.
Yeah, San Juanita.
I'm Janie
Oh,
slash
San Juanita.
um
I'm never gonna remember those if I see the name.
sorry about that. It's just, yeah, I'm sorry. It's because sometimes I log in with my school. I don't even know how I'm logged in today. No, it's with Janie. Okay, so I did hear that, I think it was Miss Lewis said that, like, letting us know to be yourself and all that. But I really think that he is full of himself, and he's not telling us be like yourself. He's saying everybody tries to be like me, but they're not quite me, So I think he's just full of himself. And
Definitely.
and honestly, I don't like him. I've never liked him.
And it's perfect. He also puts on over there that he doesn't really care about who likes the way he's approaching.
Let me tell you
So
something.
I like that, the fact that you're recognizing that
the way he doesn't care, I don't care, because it looks like he doesn't think he's got much, because then he's saying, I do have to cuss to sell, So that says a lot about him. That says a lot about him. What else can he offer but that? And you know what?
Exactly.
Honestly, the people that got his attention he has is like from my daughter's generation. I would always no, I don't want you listening to that. I don't want you. So I was always against that. But like you said, it's true. He says, I don't care if they don't like me.
Yes,
But-
and it's part of the way he approached this, specifically for this purpose. Like your reaction, it was already planned. Like,
Yeah.
but anyways, when I move to Luz, you want to say something? And thank you, San Juanita.
Thank you for.
Think Luz, you're on mute. So
Yeah,
There you go.
I realize that. I just wanted to say that I feel like he's calling us out to be real and just not be hypocrites. But obviously,
definitely, he gives a lot of references, right?
yeah,
Luz, you still there?
He uses this energy, I guess, to get us to react or to really snap out of it, which is, I think sometimes it's a guttural response he wants us to have towards being fake. So, I get where he wants us to go, because he must be really just tired of people that are so superficial or fake. So.
Yes, definitely. A lot of that in that song as well. We have also Roots.
Yeah, I guess the feeling that came up when I read that, and it's crazy because I'm like Jessica. I grew up and this was like in my high school years. So obviously, like, I knew it when I saw the worksheet that they emailed it, to us. But like just reading it now and like really looking at the lyrics, it makes me feel disgusted, to be honest. I feel like it has a lot of like those chismes that you don't say, like, the tabloids, how they're always talking about like
so and so's life, and like so he comes up with the most vulgar way, like to say like, oh, he's whooping her ass, and then like if you can hump dead animals in Canelo, like and something about being a cannibal and cutting people up, and it's just like, what the hell, like what part of your mind am I in? Like, and I need to get out ASAP is like pretty much what comes to my mind when I listen to this. Just like, damn.
Yeah, that part specifically, I think he was mentioned. He was referring some incident that happened with some celebrity, who they found that was killing some type of animal, and he mentioned something about sex with it. So he's referring to that in a lot, like you're saying, tabloids that were happening during this time period. And then we have Jessica.
No, I was just gonna say when he was talking about humping animals, because around that time, another a white guy, Tom Green, made a music video, and in that music video, he was humping animals, and he got all this like praise and rave reviews because people thought it was hilarious, you know. And I actually, even like reading it back now, I'm actually more inspired. Was I gonna say to number one, respect people's however they communicate, and then look at myself at what am I insecure about in my writing where I can't be as not right about what I'm saying, but honest about what I'm thinking. Now that doesn't imply that what I'm thinking is honestly the right way to think, but it could be what I honestly think, which is always subject to change. I've learned in my 40 years, you know, like, and Wendy Williams said it best. She said, I'm a woman, I have a right to change my mind. And I use that daily. So I look at it now like it's a great piece of work, even then and now. And that's just his words. But I think the only thing I think that I recognize now that I didn't back then was the privilege that he also had to say those things and not be looked at like lower class or uneducated, or because he's, you know, a white man, you know. So I think that's the only difference I have right now reading it, is just recognizing the privilege that he had to write those things and not be looked at as a subpar human, you know, from the ghetto of a, you know, even though he really actually was from the ghetto and had a single parent, but he, just by the way he looked, it could allude that he didn't have those things. But I think that's the only thing I recognize now that's different, is that there was some definitely privilege to say that so freely and know that whether there be recourse, he always has the opportunity to make it up if he puts on a suit and tie and a nice fade.
Well, and his point, like, it's just I know a couple things about him, and him. On the other hand, it was on the other flip of the coin, I guess, because he was living in a neighborhood that was a lot of black rappers. So he was actually the one who was being mistreated by other black people because he was white. So it became kind of the other side of the racism. But that's another topic for another day. Let's continue for this one, just for the time's sake. And thank you guys again. This was a great performance from you guys. And basically, again, this is Slim Shady. It's an excerpt. Again, I cut a couple parts for time-wise, and also because some of it is a little rougher, which you might not think. But anyways, Eminem, as you know, or may not, it's not his real name. His real name is Marshall Bruce Matthews III. He uses Eminem as his rap name because Eminem almost sounds like M&M. His initials, Slim Shady, is another nickname to represent his rough alter ego. And before we move to the next part, I just want to put that part in Spanish just to make sure I have that. Oh, it's over here. Eminem, como sabes, no es su verdadero nombre. Su verdadero nombre es Marshall Bruce Matthew III. Utiliza Eminem como su nombre de rapero, pero Eminem porque Eminem casi suena como M y N. Sus iniciales, y después Slim Shady es otro apodo para representar su alter ego. Pero es áspero. Let's go back to this, and then let's see what alter ego it's all about. So from the Latin doppelganger, meaning other I, an alter ego or alternative self is believed to be distinct from a person, normal or true, original personality. ¿Ok? Déjenme pongo esto en español. Y como les decía, del latino para doppelganger, que significa el otro yo, el alter ego o el ego yo alternativo, se cree ser distinto a la personalidad original, normal o verdadera de una persona. Okay? So any questions so far? Raise your hand or because I don't have any faces. Okay? So having that in mind, this time we want to read another piece of him. This is another piece by Eminem in which Slim Shady is not taking control. And again, Slim Shady is alter ego of Eminem, okay? So vamos a leer ahorita también en español después de que lo hablan en inglés. Esta otra pieza que en realidad no toma el control Slim Shady, okay? Pero primero vamos a hablar en inglés, okay? So, who wants to go for this one?
Maybe for time, I can read both.
Go for it if you want to. Yeah, for sure. I'm not
just-
gonna stop anybody.
Yeah, just for time.
Go for it.
All right. So, Not Afraid, excerpt from Recovery 2010. Eminem, aka Marshall Bruce Mathers. Okay, quit playing with the scissors and shit and cut the crap. I shouldn't have to rhyme these words in the rhythm for you to know it's a rap. You said you was king, you lied through your teeth. For that, fuck your feelings. Instead of getting crowned, you're getting capped. And to the fans, I'll never let you down again. I'm back. I promise to never go back on that promise. In fact, let's be honest, that Relapse CD was Perhaps I ran them accents into the ground. Relax, I ain't going back to that now. All I'm trying to say is get back, click clack, blow, because I ain't playing around. There's a game called Circle, and I don't know how. I'm way too up to back down, but I think I'm still trying to figure this crap out. Thought I had it mapped out, but I guess I didn't. This fucking black cloud still follows me around, but it's time to exorcise these demons. These motherfuckers are doing jumping jacks now. Y en español, sin miedo, abstracto. Está bien, deja de jugar con las tijeras y esas cosas y deja de hacer tonterías. No debería tener que rimar estas palabras con el ritmo para que sepas que todo terminó. Dijiste que eras rey, mentiste por entre tus dientes y por eso a la mierda con tus sentimientos. En lugar de ser coronado, fuiste tapado y para los fanáticos jamás los decepcionaré. Otra vez, he regresado. Prometo nunca volver atrás en esa promesa. De hecho, seamos honestos, ese último CD, Relapse, fue Tal vez corrí los acentos hasta el suelo. Relájate, no voy a volver a eso ahora. Todo lo que intento decir es hazte para atrás, clic clac, blau, porque no estoy jugando. Hay un juego llamado Círculo y no sé cómo jugarlo. Estoy demasiado arriba para retroceder, pero creo que todavía estoy tratando de resolver esta mierda. Pensé que lo tenía planeado, pero supongo que no. Esta maldita nube negra todavía me sigue, pero es hora de ejercitar a estos demonios. Estos malditos ya están haciendo saltos de tijera.
So this is the question. We're not going to discuss too much into like the meaning of this one, but I want you to let me know what do you guys think is the difference between this piece and the piece that we read at the beginning. What is the difference between Not Afraid and the difference between Slim Shady? We have Roots.
Yeah, I would say this one, it seems like he's kind of like trying to like pep talk to himself, like get his like emotions up, you know, like kind of when you feel that you're not adequate is what I feel with this. And then the other one was obviously like the students were saying like he was full of himself, right? So like it's very different, like the feeling of it.
Yes, definitely. We also have Jenny says less cursing. And any other ones that have noticed more stuff, or what do you guys think is the difference between this one and the previous one? Luis?
I think it's kind of unique to be able to see a rap that is 10 years, after the real Slim Shady, and to see a difference between the type of person that was being presented using that persona and the type of person that's being presented now as a, older, 10 years older Eminem. That's, yeah. And let's see. The second has more tone and rhythm, according to Moshe. And Stephanie is observing that it feels more intimate. Yeah, I think that
Definitely.
there is a sense of sort of vulnerability in Not Afraid versus the other one, which was just, I would agree more with San Juanita in that he just didn't care. He didn't care what he was saying, and that was actually, I think, a big part of the message in the first one is that he just didn't care what he was saying because he was proud of the fact that he could say things that other people were too afraid to say.
Yes, and I like that you pointed those two things because the first one is definitely it's about talking about the media at the time, how things work in the industry, especially the Grammys and all that, who was being shown off, the regular bands, boy bands, and all that stuff. So it wasn't a space for somebody who let it out, and also was his way of approaching his alter ego, which means he has no fear, no shame, basically no shame. Even when you guys were reading it, you feeling a little weird of saying all these things, but he was able to approach it saying, "I can do these things that you can't." Even himself as a person, he would not do those things. But he's using the microphone and the ability to write this piece to let that alter ego get out. The second piece, in the other hand, is apologetic. If you think about it, it's saying, sorry, I have messed up. Like I'm not as good as I thought I was, right? The first one is all about I'm the biggest thing you have ever seen. People are actually copying me. The second one is more vulnerable, like we're saying. It's more intimate. It's apologetic. And the first one, the whole thing about his alter ego is not giving a French about anything, right? So it's zero apologetic. That's the difference. That's his alter ego. His alter ego takes no prisoners, right? And the second one has definitely a more sensible touch. And we have Jessica.
Sorry. I asked in the chat, and Luis, thank you for answering. Apparently, so there was like an album or two between it. So I don't know enough about him. I know some of his music. I like most what I do, like the mainstream stuff, right? But I don't follow it to know all the middle stuff. But my point is, like, I feel like somewhere in the middle between this excerpt and the first one, he played around a little bit with what his style was gonna be. And he's figuring out like I think it just based off of what I know about his music, that he kept a little bit of his original because he's still pretty bold, but it is what everybody else said, a little bit more. You can tell there's some maturity to it. And I like the way that he said there's a game called Circle. I think he's talking about going full circle. Some people say they've gone full circle and now blah, blah, blah. And that he says, I don't know how I'm way too up to back down. So I think he's saying like, I'm not done growing. I haven't gone full circle. Like I'm still figuring it out, but I know that I know I'm good. And whatever it is, I'm probably not going to go, not that I'm not going to go back to my original thing or back to what you want me to be, but I'm going to figure it out. Like, I don't know. I thought that caught my eye, the game called Circle. And that he.
Yeah, and I like that you noticed that because it definitely speaks to what we're talking about. He's talking about a different place where he was as Slim Shady, and now he's in a different place and he doesn't want to go back to it. He's changing a different style, a different voice, right? So that's where we at. Any other ones that I want to talk about this piece before we move on? 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. So other alter egos in popular culture used by numerous performing artists who use stage personas, which are different from stage names, both to entertain audiences and to explore new identities for themselves. We have examples here. Real name, Elvis Presley. Stage name, the king of rock and roll. And then we have the alter ego, Jesse Barone. I still don't know exactly about that. I'm trying to figure out more about that, but I don't know. That's what I found. We have Destiny Cyrus, her real name. They have the stage name is Miley Cyrus. Then we have the alter ego, which is it's between two. It's more of a show. It's Hannah Montana, Pop Star, Secret Identity, and then we have Miley Ray Stewart's Norma's teenager girl. Then we have Beyonce Knowles, her real name. And then we have her stage name is Beyonce. Then we have her alter ego, which is Sasha Fierce, right? And let me just go at it in Spanish, okay? So, otros alter egos en cultura popular, utilizando por numerosos artistas que utilizan personajes de escenario que son diferentes de los nombres artísticos, tanto para entretener al público, al igual como para explorar nuevas identidades para sí mismos. Y los ejemplos son nombre verdadero, Elvis Presley, nombre artístico, el rey del rock. Después, alter ego es Jesse Barone. Después tenemos a Destiny Cyrus y su nombre artístico es Miley Cyrus. Y su alter ego es Hannah Montana, identidad secreta de estrella de pop. Y Miley Ray Stewart, joven normal, ¿verdad? Después tenemos el otro ejemplo, que es el nombre verdadero Beyoncé Knowles. Después su nombre artístico, Beyoncé, y su alter ego, que viene siendo Sasha Fierce. So, we also have alter egos in literature. In the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the author uses the idea of the alter ego to demonstrate the concept that good and evil exist simultaneously within one person, constantly at war with one another. In all comic books, we also have Superman and Clark Kent. Which one is the alter ego? Well, it's up to you to decide, I guess. And then we have, is Batman the alter ego of Bruce Wayne? Is the Hulk the alter ego of Bruce Banner? Y en español, el alter ego en literatura, en el extraño caso del Dr. Jekyll y Mr. Hyde, el autor usa la idea del alter ego para demostrar el concepto de que el bien y el mal pueden existir simultáneamente dentro de una persona en constante guerra entre sí. En los cómics antiguos, entre Superman y Clark Kent, ¿cuál es el alter ego, verdad? Después tenemos a Batman y su alter ego Bruce Wayne, o al revés. Después el Hulk y el alter ego de Bruce Banner. So, we also have hold on. But before anything, what do you guys have any questions before I move on to the next part? Or are we good? We're good so far? Okay, si estamos todos bien, si no, le continuamos, okay? So let's continue. Alter ego versus persona, which is a little bit important. It's like I was telling Luis when we're trying to make this, it's basically like wine versus champagne. Not all champagne is wine. Oh no, all champagne is wine, but not all champagne is wine. That's the one. Then we have persona is defined as a dramatic character, distinguished from the poet who is the speaker of a poem. Then we have alter ego, when referring to fictional literature and the other narrative forms, described as a key character in a story who is perceived to be intentionally representative of the work's author or creator by oblique similarities. Después tenemos en español el alter ego contra el personaje, como lo estaba diciendo en inglés, que es como el vino y el champán. Todo el champán es vino, pero no todo el vino es champán, básicamente. Después el personaje se define como un personaje dramático distinto al poeta, quien es el hablante de un poema. Después el alter ego, cuando se refiere a la literatura ficticia u otra forma narrativa, describe a personajes claves en un cuento quien se percibe ser intencionalmente representativo del autor o creador de tal trabajo a través de indirectas similitudes. Okay? So far, guys, how we are? Any questions so far? Hands up, hands down. Let me know. Okay, Jessica?
Yeah, I need either like a more simplified or something definition of persona. I still don't get it. I mean, I'm reading it and I understand the words there, but I'm not comprehending it, to be very honest with you.
That's right. That's all right. Persona is I perceive as more like a type of, let's say you want to write as a teenager, like you were talking about, like let's write as a teenager. You will create a persona and write as that person, right? And then the alter ego, it's a little more complex, I believe, because it has to do with some similitudes, like something that's close to you as well. It's not just something that you can just create out of the blue. It has to do also with something that comes from you. Luis?
Yeah, maybe it helps to think of it in terms of like Eminem as an example, right? You have Marshall Mathers, which is his legal name. That's him. That's his real name. His stage name, his performer name is Eminem. He can write as Eminem in a way that is reflected probably more in the second excerpt, you know, with that little bit more of like vulnerability, speaking from the first person. If you think about it in yourself, you know, it would be the way that you would use the I in your poetry, right? If your poetry is talking about you, your own individual self. The persona or the alter ego for Eminem is Slim Shady. Slim Shady is this character that is kind of like Eminem, but to another extreme, right? It's more this sort of hyper masculine character that represents Eminem, but only one part of who Eminem is. If it was your poetry, it would be another alter ego, you know, this sort of exaggerated form of just one half of who you are. So alter
what
ego.
would my persona be?
So your persona would be, you know, whatever the voice is that you're using in your poetry. If you're using the I in your poetry, then that would be your persona. That's where specifically there's a difference. Persona is a dramatic character that is the speaker of a poem. It's specifically the voice of the poem, you know, the I character in the poem. Does that make sense? Whereas the alter ego is going to be, you know, something that is much more performative. As an example, I can use a poem that I wrote where I wrote it using the voice of the Joker from Batman. And in
So are
that
you
particular
using a persona there?
Yeah, I took on the persona. So the persona is the voice that's speaking, but I, as the author, used the alter ego of the Joker to represent, you know, some aspect of me that I don't want to say is directly me.
So do you have to have one with the other?
The persona is like the general term for the speaker of the poem. So whether you're using I and you're writing as yourself, you know, that is the persona of the poem. The alter ego would be the character that is being recognized within the poem, if you want to think of it in that way. Going back to the poem that I wrote using the voice of the Joker, obviously I am not the Joker. You know, I am not insane in that way. So when I was writing that poem, I tried to put myself in the mind state of what a person like the Joker would say. And then using his voice, I created the persona of the Joker on paper.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it gets a little complicated because specifically alter ego is what you would use in narrative work, narrative writing. So in a short story, in a novella, in a novel, in an essay, you would use alter ego. Alter ego ends up being a character that is introduced that is using characteristics of the author. That's the traditional way of thinking of alter ego.
Okay.
In the case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Robert Louis Stevenson would be Dr. Jekyll. You know, Dr. Jekyll was this character that was very proper, very well educated, you know, ran in circles of like the wealthy, you know. That would be Robert Louis Stevenson, the author, represented as Dr. Jekyll. That was his alter ego. The alter ego of Dr. Jekyll would be Mr. Hyde, you know, the evil side of the author.
Okay, that kind of helps.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, and we're gonna touch more once we get to the exercise. You're gonna be able to stretch those muscles, and so we're gonna move to actually that part. We're gonna have the exercise, guys. Just to start, find one alter ego will require finding one's other self, one with a different personality. For this exercise, I want you to start creating your alter ego. So let's go with that. Let me just get this Spanish version just to. Ejercicio, encontrar el alter ego de una persona. This is for me. Encontrar el alter ego de una requiere encontrar el otro yo. Uno como una personalidad diferente. Para este ejercicio quiero que empiecen a crear su propio alter ego. So let's start with this exercise, okay? What's this? I thought it will be easier. So first, write, and this is gonna be something you guys want to do either in your chat, but just hold it in, or maybe put it in some Word document or text, and then put it in the chat that you want to. First, write 2 things your alter ego is good at that you are not good at, their strengths. Then the second, write 2 things your alter ego is bad at that you are good at, their weaknesses. And third, write 5 or more words your alter ego uses a lot. And this one comes back to the exercise we have done before. So this is, we're gonna add it to the alter ego just to have more material to reference back, okay? So let me actually, so you guys can see a little bit more. Again, I'm gonna repeat it again. Write 2 things your alter ego is good at, then write another 2 things that your alter ego is bad at, and then again, the third one is 5 or more words that your alter ego uses a lot, okay? So by the time I'm reading Spanish, you keep on going and work out, and we'll get back to you, see what everybody has, and start getting ideas, okay? So, any questions before we move on? No, okay. Vamos al ejercicio. So, como les decíamos, a comenzar a hacer nuestro propio alter ego. Primero, escribe 2 cosas en las que tu alter ego es bueno o en cuales tú no eres bueno, ¿verdad? Sus fortalezas, en las que tú eres bueno, perdón. Después, segundo, escribe 2 cosas en las que tu alter ego es malo y en las cuales tú sí eres bueno, sus debilidades. Tercero, escribe 5 o más palabras que tu alter ego usa mucho, ¿ok? Y se lo repito, para los que están haciendo su ejercicio en español, escriban 2 cosas que su alter ego es bueno, 2 cosas que su alter ego es malo, y tercero, que 5 palabras o más que usa su alter ego mucho, okay? So, whenever you guys, I'm gonna give you a couple more minutes. How many minutes, Luis, do you think should we go for this one?
Let's go for a full 5 minutes, beginning now.
5 minutes. Tick tack, no pressure.
So, reflection and raising concerns is a strength for Mojde's alter ego. And
we have one, you know. Okay.
yeah, and being silent and obedient is a weakness of the alter ego. And then 5 words that the alter ego uses: the I, the we, standing up, resistance, and resilient. Interesting. Okay.
I want to see what comes out of this. This is going to be fun.
That'll be interesting.
Okay, I think we arrive at the time. So I think you use, is it Mojde, the one who wrote that, AA?
Yeah.
So again, I get confused with the.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was mostly.
I guess just follow much this template and just write it like that and the chat, and we'll go from there and start talking about them. Unless you want to speak, raise your hand and speak about it, we can do that as well.
Also, if anyone is struggling with the concept, also raise your hand. We're more than happy to explain it a little bit more.
I wonder what's the term for it. Like if we have the alter ego, which comes from within, what if we take something that comes from an outside force, like the Lord of the Rings? When you wear the ring, you become something else. What is that called then? You become something else?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time. Yes, I'm having a hard time. So is the, because I remember studying the alter ego in, what is it, my psychology class or something? And I'm trying to see that, but
it's a psychological term.
Is it like something you wish you could be or you could do?
Yes, definitely. It plays a big factor in the alter ego. Sometimes it also comes as something you might want to be, that you see yourself as, or it can be the other way around, something you don't want to be seen as. So it can be both ways.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not you 100%. Like it's something that you're either trying to hide or you're trying to be.
But not something that I wish I could do, but that I am not good at. See what I'm saying? Something that I wish I could do, but not really, that I really cannot do it. Like in reality, I can't do it. Is that what it is?
In one sense, yes. It's like, because if you're talking within the psychological sense of what an alter ego is, the alter ego is the personality that a person basically represses. So in psychological terms, it's the repressed personality. It's the one that is inhibited by social standards, by the lack of resources, by all sorts of other external forces that basically force you to internalize the personality that you might desire to really be. So from the psychological viewpoint, that is typically how an alter ego is characterized. From the literary viewpoint, it is the character that you create within a story that has all of those qualities and has some general, maybe vague similarities to you, the author, which would be distinct from the main character, or might be the main character of your story, but it's clear that there is a division, that it's like you, the author, but it isn't you, the author. That's a very important distinction.
Well, I mean, that's how you write a story. You create, characters like that.
But in this case, we're gonna use. Sorry, Janie. In this case, like because again, persona is different than alter ego. Like you can use another character to create a persona or so on. But the alter ego has to do also with you. Like Luis is saying, it goes back to you. That's why I'm giving you things that you are not good at. It means your character might be good at those, but you're not. So it's that connection, that kind of still connection to you. That's why this exercise, it has some of that. There's other ways you can achieve another alter ego character, but this is kind of an easy way to introduce you until I had to create one. And any other questions, sorry? Janie?
I'll just go with what you guys are saying, but I'm still having a hard time. I'm gonna write whatever I think I understood, okay? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and also you can check whatever is writing. Like, for example, we have Stephanie, she just got her answers. For example, so 2 things her alter ego is good at: being emotionally honest, and then being fearless. Those are her 2 things that her alter ego is good at. And then the 2 things her alter ego is bad at is considering others, and the other one is accomplishing anything important. And also the 5 words her alter ego uses a lot is fucking A, pinche, no mames, a la verga, y whatever. So see, this is kind of, this is we're going at it. And then Jessica, you have a question as well?
So I'm just gonna read mine. So I'm with I know your name's not Janie. I forget what.
Juanita.
Juanita. I'm gonna
You
just,
said what Jenny-
yeah, I'm
yes.
just gonna shoot it out too and see. This is to my understanding. So my alter ego, two things that she's good at, and her strengths are she knows exactly what she wants. She executes and she's on time, which is the opposite of me, which is what I desire to be sometimes. Her weaknesses are that she's not a chameleon in a room. So she's very much who she is, and regardless of the surroundings or the type of people or music, anything, she's who she is. And she's almost too politically correct, and not flexible in her thinking. And not open, and not, I put open. She's not open to interpretation, and she's not flexible. Those are two of her weaknesses. So almost too politically correct, not being able to be a chameleon, and are open to interpretation and not flexible. And then 5 words my alter ego uses a lot. I don't know those yet.
Okay, it takes time. It takes time, but you're going there. You're heading to a good direction.
Thank you, Jessica.
I think another way to maybe approach this is to think about how is it that you behave with your friends versus how is it that you behave with your family. You know, they're going to be two different people more often than not. You know, you're going to have one particular persona that you express with very close friends, people you feel very confident with, versus, you know, like your grandma. You know, you're going to behave very differently with your grandma more than likely than with, you know, like your cuate. So that's another way to maybe think about it if you find yourself struggling with this exercise.
We also have Luz. She posted her. Alter ego was good at invisibility and daydreaming, and then bad at paying attention and remembering. Oh, cool. Words: sit down, breathe, que onda, craving it, desire. Ooh, nice. I know where this is heading. We have Liana says one that is alter ego, and how did the alter ego to do the real Slim Shady? 2, how long did the real Slim Shady start using some curse words? Should you not say that anybody, especially through class? Hold on. Oh yeah, well, Slim Shady. I don't think his alter ego is too much on the bad words. It's. I mean, he definitely has some play with that, but it's more about they're not thinking as much of. I think it's more being straightforward and not apologetic. Like he's not gonna say, "Oh, oops, I say shit," kind of thing. It's more like straightforward. I think it's not too much on the bad words. Sorry, what is Jessica? We also have a question from you.
Sorry, I have one more. So really quick. So with I did put some words, but I think some of the words that I put down apply to both her alter ego and her weakness and strength. I think when I'm reading it, the tone is what's different, but the same exact words. Like my alter ego would say, like, "Se puede," like as in like if someone says, "Oh, I can't," she's like, "Yes, you can." And then she'd also say it like "Si se puede," like as in don't give up, where it's not so like black and white, like yes, you can do it. And the other one's like, yes, you can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, I think you can approach it. I mean, some people approach it like opposite, but you can also approach it like some similarities. Like you're saying, maybe this is just a little more energetic or more cheerful. That can also be your alter ego. It kind of overshine, or it's a little more expressive also as well. Maybe that can also be a thing, a power, or her alter ego coming out or taking controls, as being something over expressive, I guess, or more cheerful. especially when in reality you wouldn't say oh like that much, you know, intensity. You probably do less. And then we have also Roots. She has her alter ego is good at confrontation. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it's always helpful. Organization. Okay, that's also damn it, that's some good powers. Alter ego is bad at making crafts. Okay. Being caring. Oh, damn it. And then we have the words. We have the definitive, firm, unchanging, focused, opportunity. Okay, we'll see, huh? Interesting. I guess that goes with organization. Then we have Janie. I think she's still writing, so can I wait a little bit longer to give hers?
Hopefully, y'all found this exercise useful to get you started.
Oh, we're moving to homework?
Yeah, I think we might as well give them the homework now.
Okay. Okay, let's do the homework. Let's check it out. And I'll go back to Janie in a little bit. We have the homework. Let your alter ego write a poem thinking and using the answers you got from the previous exercise. But again, here's the tricky part. Do not write poem by you. Instead, let your alter ego take control or credit for the piece. And here's the examples for it. You're gonna have poem by Mr. Hyde, and then poem by Mr. Hyde, aka your name, basically, Jackal. So let's say my alter ego is Super Pancho or something like that, right? I'm gonna put written by Super Pancho, aka Abraham, right? Or take out the Abraham. I think the less credit you take, the more power you're gonna give your alter ego to let that kind of things that you wouldn't do, maybe let your alter ego write about, you know? En español, tarea. Deja que su alter ego escriba un poema pensando y usando las respuestas que obtuviste en el ejercicio anterior. No escriban poema por yo. En su lugar, deja que tu alter ego se atribuya el mérito de la pieza. Ejemplo, poema por Mr. Hyde o poema por Mr. Hyde, alias Dr. Jackal, como lo decía en inglés. Si mi alter ego fuera Mr. Pancho, sería poema escrito por Mr. Pancho, a.k.a. Abraham, o sea, el alias Abraham, ¿verdad? O si quieren no pongan Abraham o no pongan su nombre, nada más pongan el nombre de su alter ego. So you're going to have a chance to write come up with a name for your alter ego. So that's going to be also interesting. See what names you guys choose. And we have Janie. She is finished, I think. Good things her alter ego is good at. Staying healthy. Ooh, that's a good one. And then travel with freedom. Oh, that's a good one. Damn it. Caring. So bad things that the alter ego is not good at. Caring or a good listener. And then the 5 words for her alter ego are Chihuahua. Again. I want food. Come on. Hug, please. Oh, those are good ones. And then we have Aliana. I'm trying to bid Chire good night. Oh, Aliana is saying goodbye. And Luis is saying goodbye again. Bye, Aliana. So any questions before we say goodnight and we leave you with your thoughts and your alter ego to find it out and see who comes out?
I think I understand it, but I'm here in the dark, so I didn't type too much. But I had like a number 1 things that I'm good at or things that I'm bad at. Freely speaking up and being very truthfully, because some people, you don't want to hurt their feelings. It's not that I'm not a truthful person, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. And so I'm not quite sure if I got all this right, but then number 2, sharing with others that's not included. I like to cook, and then our group, exercise group, is always having little luncheons. But we have this one person, she is so kind, and I believe I'm kind. I cook, I like to share, but then that nasty inner part of me, no, I'm serious, and I have to, I'm working on that, because she'll ask someone else that she knows, we're having a lunch, and she does this all the time, and you can come, and we share with her that, we don't want to pass up anybody, and if you desire to ask them, they have to bring a dish, you know. And so I try to emphasize that in a nice way. And I don't know. That's a little fight that's going on inside of me. So um, that's part of the things that I'm getting out of this. So help me, help me, help me.
Yeah, that sounds
Yes,
about
definitely
right.
you go in the right track, and I think this is why it's such a good thing for psychology, because this alter ego reveals a lot about ourselves, like the way you're trying right now to assimilate and to create these questions and answer yourself, like, why am I not doing this? Why am I doing these things and not the opposite? It speaks a lot of who you are and who also you want to be, and also the things that you're hiding that you might want to get out more. So that's a good thing about the alter ego. It reveals things that we want to make do, but we, just because of societal strengths or inner fears, we don't let those things out. So the good thing about the alter ego, it gives us the space to let them out. It's like jesters, like in the politically oppressed government, we have the king who will murder you if you say something bad. The jester comes in and says these unsensible things, but he's allowed because he's kind of that part of the community. He's fulfilling that purpose. It's interesting. You see.
Yeah. So yeah, in the end, I think that like I said, if it helps you to understand the exercise, think about the person that you would be in a more formal setting versus a person that you present yourself as in a very relaxed, very open, very free environment. That could be maybe a way in which you approach your alter ego, if that helps. Of course, you can push it to the extremes and say, like, this is my complete opposite. And so you would be writing as if you were the complete opposite of the person that you feel you are.
Yeah, alter ego is like a really complex thing. And again, this is just a quick way into getting us in a format that we can explore it, But after all, if you guys want to pursue this alter ego thing, you can carry, like Luis saying, take it to the extremes or take it to the more simple thing, or play with other formulas of it. And definitely it's a nice way of approaching writing in a different voice, which is what we're trying to this semester or term.
Exactly.
I don't know how many months is this.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Abraham, for another very interesting and unique approach to writing. It's always fun to have you teaching us and going over things that are different. Hopefully everyone feels like they have something to work on. Last reminder, for those of you that have something to turn in that you would want to have reviewed for next Tuesday, make sure that you turn it in by this Friday. Next week also is the Adobe Max conference, so I won't be able to join you all on Tuesday night, but Abraham will be here, and Abraham will be able to still provide you all with breakout rooms for you to give each other your notes. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Abraham. Hope you all have a good night. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.